bearing with our couple technical difficulties.
We should be going live on YouTube. Just a couple seconds. We should be going live on YouTube.
Welcome to 3D-Con. Thanks for dealing with a couple technical issues that we're having, but it looks like everybody's able to make it here, and that's great.
Going live on YouTube.
So welcome to 3D-Con. Someone playing something in the background. Thanks for dealing with a couple technical issues that we're having, but it looks like everybody's able to make it here, and that's great. Eric, I think you were okay. So anyway, back to this. We're going to kick it off, and I'm your technical director, Dave Camo, and we're going to pass it over to conference chair for the 2021 virtual 3D-Con, Steve Berezin.
Hi, everybody. That was quite a bumper, but thanks, Dave. I'm going to talk a little bit today about 3D-Con. Dave's going to put you through the website, then we're going to introduce other people. Whoever was at virtual 3D-Con last year remembers how good it was. So I was chairman, and I thought everything went really well last year, so I tried to get most of the same people this year. I wasn't going to do this to the end, but a lot of people put a lot of work into this already, so I wanted to mention them just to start out with. It takes a lot of people to put a conference like this together. We have, like I said, this is my third conference, but it's my first virtual, but it's Dave Camo's second virtual conference. He's our technical director, and he's done a lot of heavy lifting for everybody here. So I don't want to proceed without giving him his due diligence. But Dave Camo from the New York Club, excellent. Burt Kerwin, who, if you're in 3D, you know, from 3D Space and our LA 3D Club, which I am also president of. Greg Stumpf is he's our website guy. Put together a great website. Rick Chomsky is our workshop director. John Bishi, who you know is president of NSA, who is our sponsoring organization, National Stereoscopic Association. Claire Dean, who's heading our art gallery. Sorry, John's doing our digital image showcase along with Paul Ghosh. David Kuntz is our treasurer. Barb worked on registration and is also a advisor, I would say. Melody Davis, who's chair of our sessions, the stereoscopic sessions. It's kind of an academic thing, and I would not miss that. That's going to start, I believe, tomorrow morning, but Dave Camo will go over that. Linda Nygren, who most people know as a photo 3D manager. She's going to be running our SIG meetings, which means significant interest group. I'm sorry, that's not what it means. Special interest group. Greg Perez is our help desk manager. He wrote a lot of things for our website. David Heiser, who's, if you have a chance, you want to go into GatherTown and see what Dave's done. He's also done a lot of other things to help us technically. Jim Harp is anybody on AltSpace right now. Jim Harp, he's the guy. Phyllis Maslin, social director, also the chairman of next year's meeting. She'll be talking a lot about that in Washington State. I believe it's going to be in the Tacoma area. Colleen Wolpert, who's in charge of our virtual vendor fair, has been working very hard getting the vendors in line. Jeremy Rowe on the historical committee. Chris Schneeberger on stereo card competitions. Gordon Au did our logo work. Christian Schimmer, video. Michael Tubby did our ZNSA webmaster. Jam Brandt is working a lot, and Wolfgang Sell, who's done a lot of advising. So If you're awake now, I want to go through a few other things before I hand it back to Dave Camo.
Should we just break it up with a round of applause for all those folks?
I feel like I'm in a New York meeting. Very good, everybody. And every one of those people is a pleasure to work with. I would do it 100 times over. So, hi to everybody. It looks like we have people from all over the world here today. I just wanted to go over a little things. We sent out a registration pack this year, which we do a little differently. Usually we just stick things in the bag. Obviously, we can't do that virtually. So it involves significant postage. So it wasn't free this year, but we were able to do it. And I want to just tell people, if you haven't gotten a registration pack, I'm going to show you what's in it. And then you can decide later if you want one of these. A lot of our sessions are going to be on YouTube later, so you may want to watch them using some of the things that we have. And the first, which I want to mention, is from London Stereo. A lot of people here should be familiar with London Stereo, and they have a special steampunk viewer. This is it without the wrapper. And the steampunk viewer is for viewing stereo pairs, left, right, 3D pairs. So I wanted to show that. I wanted to show you would get a pair of circular glasses, a pair of anaglyph glasses. I did want to mention London Stereo did also donate all the prizes for the competitions this year. So every competition winner will get a prize from London Stereo, including our own site. We also got New York Stereo to send a mask. So we didn't have this before, but if you go now, you will get a mask. We got a great Viewmaster reel from Image 3D. That's Image 3D with Rich Dubnow. Generously donates this every year. You'll see a picture. You also get this picture on the postcard, which you can view with the London Stereo viewer. And the Pixie viewer, which is no longer available. So this is the only way you can get it, I'm pretty sure. And it's for viewing large stereo pairs in 3D. So you can also walk around with this outside and see what it would be like if your eyes were far apart, which is a lot of fun. And last but not least, these Gunnar circular polarized glasses. If you have a 3D TV, these are good, but they're also good for going to a 3D theater. So this is from Gunnar, and we helped get these. I'm owner of Bears and Stereo Photography Products. So I've also done the mailing for these. So that was introducing myself. I did want to talk a little bit about NSA, National Stereoscopic Association. This is, I believe, our 47th, but I'm not quite sure. Dave will tell you that. This is the magazine that NSA gives if you're a member. So that's National Stereoscopic Association. They're behind the whole thing. This is their magazine. You get 6 copies of this a year. This is an incredibly high quality magazine done by our editor, John Dennis, who's been doing this for years. This is included with membership, a lot of side-by-side stereo pairs. Most of it's in color. And you get a lot of other benefits. You can go to their website and it'll tell you what you get, access to research things and listings and other things. And you get to rub elbows with the greatest stereographers of the world. So I don't want to take up a lot of your time. So we're going to go back to David Camo, and he's going to show you our website and perhaps some videos. Dave, take it away.
Thank you, Steve. Very good. So yeah, I'm gonna. So this meeting is really kind of a quick introduction and also an orientation from the technical side about how to get around 3D-Con, how to do things. And so I'm going to go over and share my screen here. Second. Screen 2. Okay, so you can see my screen now. I got 3D-Con up on the screen. If people can nod your heads, that would help me. Yep. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. So here's the 3D-Con website. If you've gotten here to this meeting, then you figured out how to get to meetings. So you can leave now. But just to go over that again, here's just the landing page. You've got these 4 buttons which will take you places. Down here is the news and updates. We're going to have news and updates, obviously, down here. So check this for anything late and breaking. Lately, it's been about how the convention schedule has been in Eastern time. But so go ahead and make sure that you have the latest and greatest schedule, which is right here. Talking about the schedule, you can also go over here to convention schedule on the left. You can always get to your current event using this button or the button on the main page. You can download the event from here, or I'm sorry, you can click to download a PDF. And you can check the schedule there. You can subscribe to our Google Calendar, so the events will show up on your phone or your calendar application. And then down below, we have this dynamic little bit. And due to popular demand, we added this little link where you could click to get to the event, and of course, immediately it broke. And so hopefully we fixed it again. These links should click to take you to that same current event page. What we'd recommend is always just to go to the main page, go to this current event button, click on it. Here you can see this is the current event. This is the current event that's happening now. You can go to the Zoom link. And we're also streaming over to AltSpace, which is a virtual reality world. So you can always click here to get to that, and I'll talk about that in a second. You also get a YouTube link. So we're also streaming to YouTube. So we have a lot of people who are watching on YouTube, and actually they might be asking questions in the chat. So one of us is going to kind of try to monitor that and try to bring their questions over here into the Zoom meeting. And then we have the next scheduled event, which maybe we need to tweak this a little bit, but hey, it's the first day. So ideally this would be the next event. And then you could, so if this one ends, then you can click this to go into the waiting room in the next event. So hopefully that makes sense. This will get you everywhere. We talked about this kind of second experience that we have, which is called Gather Town. So last year we used something different where it was a little bit loud and you could walk around and talk to people. This time we have this Gather Town space, which is like that, but really built up. So you have video, and you can have clickable links. And we're gonna go over to Dave Heiser in a little while after we get down some of these other links. So you can experience the convention through GatherTown from this link, or you can just use the website and do that. So it's entirely up to you. As we saw, you can also click on this YouTube link. So if you click on that link, you're gonna see here's all of the videos. Here's the past videos. You'll also see the old 2020 ones. This navigation list is nice. It has GatherTown and AltSpace video instructions. And we also have links on the main site. We have, but here you can just click and go to live. So you can watch all of the live events on YouTube. Now, like we said, in the message that was sent out, some of the events will not be available later on. So they'll run in YouTube at the time, but then later on, when you go to find it, those are gonna be the keynotes will not be available later on. And also the first 2 stereoscopic sessions tomorrow morning. But all the other events should be on here, with the exception of the 2 events that are just in GatherTown, right? So Saturday's happy hour is in GatherTown. It's not being streamed anywhere. And then there's an event on Sunday, which is just in GatherTown. Maybe also have a separate one in AltSpace for that slot. Okay. Eric, anything else about this YouTube page?
Yeah, actually, one other thing that we can point out is, well, I can explain it when I talk about the theater sessions.
Okay, great. I just wanted a little break from hearing myself talk. Oh, and also, by the way, you may have seen the 2020 logo in the waiting room. We don't really know why that's happening because we did replace it with the new one, but Zoom will do what it wants sometimes. So don't be confused. You are not going back in time to last year's convention, but you can do that on the YouTube page. Okay, and then the final button is this 3D-Con Facebook group. So a ton of people have signed up and are watching this Facebook group. And in fact, we've got a quick, Joyce asked a question, are we going to watch the conference live on YouTube? Yep, go to the channel, and maybe Greg can stick a link in there too. Get right to this channel, to the live stuff. So the Facebook channel, or the Facebook group, should be like can be the pulse of the convention, where it's easily accessible, and you can ask questions or post links to things that you think are interesting and chat with other people. It's a really great spot. So, okay, so let's pop over. We talked about the schedule. Registration is still open during the event, although our help desk people are not really as available as they would be, say, a week ago, since we're all at the convention. But you have this really great souvenir packet, which you can still get, and it'll get shipped out. Obviously won't arrive before the show starts. And you can click to go to the Eventbrite page. So you can click on register. That just takes you over to this Eventbrite page. And so I'd imagine almost all of you have done this, gone to this page, and you've clicked register. And what I want to show you here, just really quick, at the top, there's this enter promo code. Okay, and here you can register for free. You probably did that. You could choose a souvenir registration packet, which are those amazing things that Steve showed in the beginning. Click down and choose your US shipping or international shipping to add it over to your cart. Or if you'd like, you can go and get the souvenir packet plus the NSA membership. And like Steve said, the NSA, being a member of the NSA is what helps keep things like the 3D-Con alive. So you get 6 great issues of Stereo World. And this is the link to Stereo World, which I'll put in the news and updates and stuff. And usually on the main page of Stereo World, there is like a back previous issue. But a special for 3D-Con is that we have the most current issue, talks about 3D-Con, and it's really great in print. But you can get a taste of it with this PDF here, and this is a special just for 3D-Con. Okay, and another bit as we go back to, sorry, now I'm getting lost. Okay, back to the registration. You can get the souvenir packet plus the registration. So you might be out there and you say, oh, well, I ordered the registration packet already, but I didn't really see the NSA membership option, and I would like to become a member. How do I do that? And so I'm telling you now for the first time that you can type in this promo code, 3D-Con special over here. And if you hit apply, what that'll do is it's going to unlock these membership specials. So you can get membership now at a discounted rate. So instead of $38, you can get it for $30. If you're international, you get it for $40 instead of $55. So it's we're offering this just during the show only. So that's what you do. You would go and choose this, and then you would go and check out, put in your information, and you can also renew. So it's for new or renewals. Let's get an exciting round of applause to break things up for the NSA and all they do, and for getting this, allowing this special to happen. So that's really it for the registration. There's a fun little video down here too of NSA President John Bishey and Barb Ghosh. Sorry if I'm messing it up, but yeah, click on that. It's fun. Okay, the the keynote speakers. Eric, do you want to say a little bit about the keynotes? I'm going to try to, I can't hear you yet. I'm asking to unmute.
Yes, here we go. Okay. Yeah, we have two keynote presentations. They will both be taking place this Saturday. We have, I'll give this to you in Pacific time. We have a morning keynote. It will be Saturday morning, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time with Denis Pellerin. Denis is a photo historian with the Brian May Archive of Stereoscopy, and Brian will be presenting a brand new talk about theatrical stereograph cards. These were produced in the 19th century and depict all kinds of theatrical scenes. Denis always gives a wonderful keynote presentation here. As we mentioned before, Denis' keynote will only be presented live. It will not be recorded and available later. So if you want to catch what Denis has to say, make sure you're here Saturday morning, 10:30 Pacific. Our second keynote will take place later in the day on Saturday. We have at 5 p.m. Pacific, Dimitri Portelli. Dimitri is a stereoscopic supervisor for feature motion picture films. Dimitri got his start working on Martin Scorsese's Hugo and has since worked on quite a few stereoscopic features, all filmed natively in 3D, including The Young and Prodigious T.S. Spivet with Jean-Pierre Jeunet, and several films with Ang Lee, including most recently Gemini Man, which was also shot at 120 frames per second. So Dimitri will be here to discuss his career and many of the things that he's learned shooting 3D on movie sets. Should be really interesting. And again, this will only be presented live. So if you want to catch either of these keynotes, make sure that you're here in the Zoom for the session.
All right, great. So it's the keynote speakers, and then we've got the 3D theater as well. I don't know if you want to add.
Yeah, I can.
Always fun.
Sure. Yeah. As long as I'm here, I can talk about the theater. Let me share my screen, and I'll show you. Dave showed you earlier how you can get to the YouTube site through the main button on the website. And when you get to YouTube, you'll see we actually have a playlist set up here for the 3D-Con 2021 3D Theater. Over the course of the weekend, we will have 4 separate blocks of films. We actually got some really great submissions this year. In fact, we ended up with so much material, we added an extra 4th block on Saturday night. There are blocks that run tomorrow, Friday, the 13th, starting at 2 p.m. Pacific, and then Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific, and what did we say, 8 p.m. Pacific? And then on Sunday, again, at 2 p.m. Pacific. And all of these will be streamed on YouTube. They won't be here in Zoom. You'll need to go to YouTube to see it. But what we've set up here, if you go to the 3D-Con YouTube channel, you'll see we have a playlist for the theater. And if you go to that playlist, as the streaming events come live, you'll see they're set to be premieres. So the countdown begins at 1:45 tomorrow afternoon. The show begins at 2, and you'll be able to select based on how you want to view it, either a red cyan anaglyph version. And for that, you can, if you received the souvenir packet, you can use the glasses that came with your souvenir packet with the red lens over your left eye. Or if you have a 3D TV or a projection system or a VR headset and you want to watch that way, we have a side-by-side half-width stream. For that, you say you want to watch on your 3D TV, you would go to either your smart TV or Roku device, Fire Stick, Apple TV, or even a Blu-ray player that has streaming functions. Run the YouTube application and select the side-by-side stream. Both of these, if you click on them now, will go to a page that's active that gives you a countdown until the show actually begins. And as these shows run, there is a live chat function. So if you're on a computer or on a tablet or phone and you want to participate, hopefully some of the content presenters will be in the chat and you'll be able to type into the chat and interact in real time as the theater runs. Now the theater is running as a premiere, which means that it'll be playing in real time. Everyone will be watching the same thing at the same time. And then after the theater session ends, the video will remain live for the rest of the weekend. So if there's something that you want to go back and see again in one of the theater blocks, or if you have to miss one when it's running live, you can go back up until the end of the convention on Sunday and watch replays of any of these theater sessions. And if you find that you inadvertently have clicked, say, the side-by-side stream, but you'd really like to watch it in anaglyph, you can very easily just go back to that playlist and select the other version. And you'll see we've got it pretty clear. You'll be able to use your glasses on both this placeholder screen and on the countdown screen prior to the theater session starting to make sure that you're viewing it properly. So Dave, if you could kick it back to the website page where we have the schedule for the theater. So if you go to the 3D-Con website, go down to the menu on the left where it says 3D Theater, and you'll see we actually have all of the blocks listed there. So you can take a look at what we'll be showing in each block. Later this weekend, we also hope to have profiles of all of our theater presenters included on this page as well. Again, really, really great material. It ranges from vintage slideshows to music videos, to narrative films, to some very interesting stereoscopic experiments. And I'd encourage everyone to tune in on YouTube and check out the 3D Theater. Thanks.
All righty. Thank you, Eric. And so meanwhile, we're back to the website and we're marching along, but I did forget to mention that we are, or I may have mentioned that we're streaming to AltSpace. So I'm just going to kick it over to AltSpace real quick. And we're going to show Jay in AltSpace. So welcome folks in AltSpace. If you want to do your emojis, your things in there, we've got Mr. Pete. He's going to be in the SIG later on. We're going to talk about VR in a little bit, but I just wanted to show people that we've got another audience in addition to the YouTube audience out there. So let us let's go back and Eric, if you could spotlight me again, I'll go back over here, and if we can find Rick Chomsky in the list, he can talk a little bit more about the workshops over here on the left.
Unmute me. Okay.
Okay.
There we go. Thank you.
Hey, Rick.
Well, we have 10 exciting workshops this year. That's 2 more than we were able to present last year. And it's mostly a new lineup of presenters. And some of the workshops that you will see are going to be played from a recording that we have. And there's good reason for this. It's an advantage for a lot of workshops because it's difficult to get enough information that will fit in the 30-minute time limit that they're given. It's they try to go 25 minutes or so with 5 minutes for questioning. So they all kind of fall in 25 to 30 minutes range. But some of the information that you don't want to leave out. And so the presenters have done a really good job at refining their technique and their presentation, and in some cases, a little video editing. And the result is a very nice flowing and very informative workshops with a lot of information. Dave, if you allow me to share my screen.
Oh, yep, I can do that.
Try it now, Rick.
Okay. So if you don't have your anaglyph glasses handy, this is a good time to say, keep them handy all the time. All your glasses you have for this convention, keep them handy all the time. There's some anaglyph pictures on this. And so there's going to be a wide variety of subjects. Two of the workshops will happen today, and this is one of them.
Are you advancing, Rick? I don't see it.
Yes.
I don't see it. I just see it stuck on Jim Swallow.
Oh. All right, let me stop sharing for a minute and do that again. You see Gordon?
Yeah, I see Gordon now. Looks good.
So Jim Harp does a creating stereoscopic galleries in VR, and also has a another presentation with Dave Kamau. That's the special interest group, also in VR. I don't know if I went through them all. I think I went all the way through them now.
That sounds good. The
Okay.
pictures are all down below too on the website of the people. Show this again. All right, so down here, if you want to view our lovely faces in side-by-side format. So thanks, Rick. So chugging along, we've got the sessions on the history of stereoscopic photography, and that's going to be a really great event. And actually, there's going to be these, from a technical standpoint, because that's part of what this meeting is that there's going to be links available later today for tomorrow, where this is my kind of future prognostication, where you're able to actually click here and then view along with the presentation. So this is like a second screen event kind of thing. So you click on that button and, oh, I didn't prepare that. I'll give a little bit more tomorrow, but basically you can click here and it'll open a new browser tab, which you can drag over to your 3D TV, or you can watch in VR. And the presenters will show like stereo cards, and then you can also have a second on your 3D TV. You'll see that image in a way like formatted for 3D. And then also after the show, you'll be able to click here, and you can go. Actually, this is what it's similar to what it's going to look like. So tomorrow you can click, and right now it's or when I make it live, it'll be a manual advance with the right clicks. But you'll see, I'm sorry for going so fast. You'll see these images, and then what you can do, I have a polarized monitor, so this is 3D to me right now, but if I click in the middle, I can go and change it to be a parallel view if I want, or I can change it to be a anaglyph if I wanted to, if that's how I want to view. And then you can navigate through. So during the live event, you won't even need to navigate. You just need to click, change your setting, and click off, and then just let it play. But you'll also want to watch the Zoom session, because there's going to be some 2D content, and then you actually see the cards as they are. The one exception to this is the Outlander effect, which is the very last presentation. All of those slides you could view in VR or on the 3D TV. So all of the content is completely full of 3D stuff. Okay. Sorry. So let's see. Where's Melody? So Melody Davis is running that. I don't know if she has anything to to add. Okay. Let me unmute her there. Okay. Hey, Melody. So Melody's audio is not working. I don't know why. It's unmuted, but so we'll. All right. Well, we'll have. Oh, wait. You back? Technical issues. I muted you and then I heard you at the end. Okay. Now. Okay. Still a problem. Sorry about that. So we'll hear enough of you tomorrow, certainly, for 4 hours. All right, so let's go down to the next tab. So all these tabs now say open on them, and these are places where you can go and check for a lot of cool information. So this competition tab, we had 2 competitions: the stereo view competition for modern and vintage, and then also the digital image showcase. This one's closed, and on Sunday there will be a Zoom and YouTube session that will show all of the entrants. But this competition now has a link here, so you can click on that link, and now you can get here, and you can click to go and view all of the different entrants. You can see who entered. You can click on here, and you can see the different stereo cards. Okay, so don't miss out on this one. There's a lot of fun. Different content. Some of the people have made up the back of the stereo card. So if you imagine the old time stereo card, it's this printed card, and then this is the front with the stereo view, and then this is the back with more information about what you're seeing. So don't miss that little bit. Okay, the art gallery. So I don't know if Claire, you would like to say something real quick. You have a virtual background now, so I'm asking you to unmute. We have Claire Dean, inimitable
There we go.
Gallery coordinator.
Yeah, so welcome all to the gallery. Again, the second virtual one. And we have a great list of artists, folks that have submitted work for you to enjoy. You can access this in a number of ways, directly from the website, but also through GatherTown. And I just encourage you to come take a look. Hopefully next year we will be back in person. And many of the folks that have submitted this year are folks who regularly submit to the in-person galleries that we've had in past years. So it's kind of a nice connection between the two. So yes, we have a reception. A good number of the artists listed in this year's gallery will be present tomorrow evening for the happy hour come artists reception. So hopefully you'll join us there. One little thing that hasn't been mentioned yet, and I'm going to be presumptive here and mention it, is that like last year, at some point during this weekend, we will be launching a feedback form. I'm also responsible for that one. So please keep your eyes open on the website and your ears open for notification that the feedback form is live. We did this last year and it was extremely useful for us, both for setting up this year's virtual gathering, but also bearing in mind our back in person gathering and the possibility of somehow combining the two in the future. This is another reason why it's extremely important that you fill out that feedback form. So that's enough from me for the time being. Thanks.
All right. Yep. Thanks, Claire. Yeah, as you mentioned, I think right now we're thinking it may appear just as a little feedback survey form down at the bottom here. That may appear tomorrow. We're testing the functionality that allows you to change it after you submitted it, because a lot of times people think of something later and then they want to go back and change their answer. So that should appear here. Then we'll also put it over on the main page over in this news and updates to announce it. And we'll post it on the Facebook group. And that should be great. So that's the art gallery. The trade fair is also now open. And how are we doing on time? We have time. Let us kick it over to Colleen Wolpert, who is in the magical recorded land.
For the first virtual convention. I've also been a vendor myself for 3 real conventions, and I'll be back in the virtual trade fair. So what is the trade fair, you're wondering? Trade fair is like your favorite mall of all things 3D.
Turn it up a little, Dave.
To visit. And it's also a knowledge center, I would say, because you can walk around and actually talk to the vendors and kind of pick their brains. A lot of people have been dealing in their specialty area for years and years. So they welcome conversations, and you can maybe get turned on to a new area of interest or learn more about what you're already passionate about. All right, what can you find in the trade fair? Well, maybe your first childhood 3D toy, the Viewmaster, and get some reels to go with it. Maybe you're a collector of old stereo views, or what I call stereographs, and you want to pick up more for your collection. You'll find those, and all manner of stereoscopes to view them with. Old devices, new devices that clip on your phone. My phone is acting as a hair light right now, but you can imagine that. Stereoscopes for looking at images on your monitor. All kinds of viewing devices. Oh, and the one that I make, the twin scope viewer. You might find also old cameras, new cameras for shooting. There's a film camera. Let's see, it's a pinhole camera that's being sold. If you're shooting with your smartphone, there's a device that clips on the front and gives you 2 lenses from one. So there's viewing devices and shooting equipment. And we've got also some gift items like cards, books, and the hefty tomes. You all know who puts this out with the included viewer. That and a whole lot more. Even some 3D inspired jewelry. Very cool. So when do you go to the trade fair? The trade fair opens when the convention starts, and it will stay open the entire time. So just hop in between events whenever you can. And also I would definitely recommend shopping during the convention and not waiting till afterwards, because a number of the vendors are offering show specials, really great deals, up to 50% in some cases, but only during those 4 days of the convention. It's also a situation where the vendors are standing by to take your phone calls or your emails, and it'll make them feel good if you actually get in touch and reach out during the convention. How do you find the convention? Well, you'll see that there's a dedicated webpage on the trade fair website, and each vendor has a listing with a description of their wares, some links to go visit what they have for sale, and their actual contact information, so you can reach out with an email or a phone call. And maybe you're looking for something that you don't see in the trade fair, and you want to ask the vendor who specializes in that object if they have it, because maybe they've got a whole like downstairs basement or closet full of stuff and they haven't actually mentioned that particular thing. So besides the webpage, you can also find the trade fair vendors in GatherTown, which we talked about a couple of times. We're going to preview that real quick right now. Mo will take us to GatherTown Trade Fair, just briefly here. So here's our bird's eye view. We go to the trade fair. Now you guys are getting a special preview of the vendors. Nobody else has seen who the vendors are going to be yet. So we've got 13 vendors, and let's go into the Bears and Stereo Photography Products booth. Once you go in the booth, you need to click the X on your keyboard, and it takes a minute, but it'll load the information that the vendor has provided with what they have for sale and any links, their show special, etc. To leave that information, you just click the X again and you're back in the trade fair. And it's really cool if the vendor is available in GatherTown, you can have a one-on-one conversation just like in real time inside of the booth, and you don't hear anything outside of the booth, just the two of you guys are talking, or 3 or 4, however many people are in that booth visiting the vendor. So that's the trade fair.
Oops, I'm muted. Thank you, Colleen. Out there in Magic Land. So back to the screen. So you saw GatherTown, and we'll go there in a second. So again, just to reiterate, this is the trade fair link. Click here, go here. But now's a good time to go and look at GatherTown, which Dave Heiser is going to show in a second. Back to this button. This main button will allow you to go actually right to the space, and you can also click down at the bottom for instructions. And if you click for instructions here, then you can get to GatherTown like on the other page, or you can click to watch the instructional videos, which we have in the conference navigation. Here's the different GatherTown instructional videos, which we're going to play in a second. Or you can go back and you can read through the documentation. So there's all manner of documentation here that Dave has written up. But you can probably just go in there and try things and talk to people, and you should be fine. So more of this. So let's send it over to Dave Heiser, who will talk about GatherTown.
Fans, this is a brief video showing what you will see the first time you click on the link to the 3D-Con GatherTown space. I'm Dave Heiser, your friendly tour guide. This space is set up as a virtual convention hall with multiple rooms where you can meet friends, view the 3D artists gallery, browse the trade fair, ask questions,
a little louder,
relax with a purring cat. Here are a few notes to begin with. Mobile devices like phones and tablets are not supported in GatherTown. You can get into the space with them, but things just won't work right and you'll get frustrated. GatherTown is not essential to your enjoyment of 3D-Con. If you're unable to connect to GatherTown or would prefer not to use it, you can still enjoy all the 3D-Con events through Zoom, YouTube, and the website. You can enter GatherTown anytime from now through the end of the conference. When you want to leave GatherTown, close the browser window. And here's a very important note. There can be audio conflicts between Zoom and GatherTown, which will cause echoing and feedback. So if you are going from a Zoom session into GatherTown, remember to mute your microphone in Zoom, or better yet, leave the Zoom session completely. Okay, let's go to GatherTown. When you go to GatherTown the first time, you'll see this screen. You can customize your avatar or just accept the default. Please enter your real name so people will know who you are. Then click Next. On this screen, you can select which of your cameras and microphones you prefer to use. Notice the microphone and camera icons in the video panel. They will show up again in the GatherTown space, and you can use them to mute yourself or to turn off your camera. Now click Join the Gathering. You'll be presented with a short tutorial on the basics of GatherTown. I suggest you don't skip it. At the end of the tutorial, you'll be dropped into the welcome area of the 3D-Con GatherTown space. We'll pick it up from there in the next video. Well, howdy there 3D fans, it's Dave again. In the last video I showed you how to get into 3D-Con GatherTown. This video is about some GatherTown tools and features that can make your visit a more pleasant experience. What you're seeing is a browser window with a participant panel on the side and tool panels along the side and on the bottom. A portion of GatherTown is displayed in what I'll refer to as the space panel in the center. You can see my avatar in the welcome area of the space. In the lower right corner is a video panel. Notice the microphone and camera icons. At the bottom of the window is a toolbar showing my name and avatar. If I click on the avatar, I can change my character. I can also change my name and save it. Now I'll click on my name. Here, I can add some information about myself, for instance, like a business name, and it will show up in the participant panel on the side. To the right of your name is what looks like a folded map. Click on the mini map to see a pop-up map showing your location in the space. Click on the X in the upper right corner to close the map. On the left side of the window is the participant panel, which will list all the visitors in the space. You can search for a friend or a speaker or vendor here to help you find them in the space. I'll talk more about that later. There's a chat panel where people can send messages to everyone or to individuals. Unfortunately, the chat panel and the participant panel can't be displayed at the same time. Before I show you the setting tool, I want to talk a little bit about screen zooming. You may want to zoom in or out while in the GatherTown space. There are a couple ways to do that. Browsers have a built-in zoom function. You can press the Control key or the Command key and press the plus or minus keys or use your scroll wheel. Unfortunately, in GatherTown, that won't work very well. There's a better way. If you go to the settings and scroll down to where it says Use Smart Zoom and click that off, it reveals manual canvas zoom with a slider bar. Here you can change the zoom factor in the space window without affecting the rest of the browser. This video will show you ways to manage communications with other people in the GatherTown space. Audio and video in GatherTown are normally distance sensitive. When people are close, they can hear and see each other just fine. As they separate and become distant, their audio and video fade out. My friend Mr. Mellon is over here to the west of me. You can't see him very well because he's far away. I'll just mosey over and say hi. Notice that as I approach, Mr. Mellon's video panel and his avatar become more clear. We can now hear each other and see each other and carry on a conversation. I just clicked on Mr. Mellon's microphone icon to mute him. Mr. Mellon can still hear me, but I can no longer hear him. Muting someone this way doesn't mute them for everyone, only for you. Another option is to block someone by clicking on the block symbol in their video panel and then confirming. This blocks all communication between you and that individual. Neither of you can hear or see each other. I can unblock anytime.
There we have it.
If you're having a conversation with someone and someone else approaches and enters your vicinity, they can join in your conversation. And if you want to leave, all you have to do is just step away and you are no longer part of that conversation. There are several locations in GatherTown where people can see and hear each other at any distance. These are called privacy areas. They're called that because people outside of the area cannot see or hear what's being said inside the area. Mr. Mellon is in a very large privacy area called the Ray Zone. I am outside of the area, but as I step in, I will be able to hear his radio as if he were standing next to me.
Surveillance options. Quickly identify mutation.
Note that I can still mute people inside of a privacy area. Also note that the floor appears to become brighter when I step into a privacy area. There are privacy areas in several of the rooms in the 3D-Con GatherTown. There's areas in the center of the trade fair and the artist's gallery where people can have group discussions, and each booth is also a privacy area where people inside the booth can talk with the vendor or each other and no one outside will be able to hear them. Another way to achieve privacy is to create what's called a bubble. If you get close to someone and then double click on their avatar, you'll see that there's a little bubble that's created around them. You are in close conversation with that person and no one outside of that bubble can hear you. To exit the bubble, you can click on Leave Bubble or you can simply step away. There are a couple of ways that you can join up with someone in 3D-Con GatherTown. I'll start here by looking for the 3D nerd. I click on his name and then I say Locate on Map. It turns out that he's in the art gallery, so I'll follow that line and join him in the art gallery. Then I can say Stop Following. Another way to join up with someone is to say Follow. So if you choose the person, then click Follow, your avatar will automatically go to that person's avatar and basically cling to him. So as that person moves around, so will you. You can stop following someone by going to their name and clicking on Stop Following, or by going to the bottom of the screen and clicking Stop Following. Following is a good way to lead a group of people on a tour around the space. There's not an easy way to stop people from following you. They either have to unfollow you themselves, or you actually have to close your browser tab and then re-enter GatherTown again. This video is about interacting with objects in the 3D-Con GatherTown space. In GatherTown, some objects are interactive. Objects activate at different distances. Sometimes the object will glow. Usually you will see a little message starting with press X. The message will disappear shortly. Clicking on an object doesn't do anything, but when you press the X key on your keyboard, something happens. You may be shown a document, an image, a video, a sticky note, or a website. It may be presented in the GatherTown window, or it may open up in a separate browser. And it may open up a Zoom window, which is a special case. This object glows when I'm nearby. When I press X, a document appears in the GatherTown window. And here mouse clicks work. I can scroll through the document and I can click on links, which open in a separate browser tab. Here's the Gather tab, and here's the Browser tab. To return to the GatherTown space, I can close the Browser tab, or just click on the Gather tab. In this case, the other tab is still open and I can return to it later. To return to the GatherTown space, click on the X in the upper right corner of the window. As I approach the stereo card viewer, it glows. When I press X, it brings up a website in the GatherTown window. I can click on links and scroll through the site like any other site. To leave the site and return to GatherTown, click on the X in the upper right corner. This object doesn't glow, but it suddenly appears as I approach. When I press X, it presents me with an image. I can click the X in the upper right corner to return to GatherTown. In this room, there's a video. When I press X and then click the arrow button, the video begins. I can stop the video and I can return to the GatherTown space by clicking the X in the upper right corner. Unfortunately, it's not possible to control the volume of the video or to scroll back and forth. Each booth in the trade fair contains an invisible object. When you press X, you're presented with a document provided by the vendor containing information about the vendor, links to their website, contact information, and possibly the hours that they're available. To leave the document and return to GatherTown, click the X. It's important to understand that while you're viewing the document, other people aren't necessarily seeing the same thing you are. In the Artists Gallery, each exhibit contains an invisible object. When you press X, you're presented with a sticky note that has a link to the artist's website. If you click on the link, it brings up the website in a separate tab. You can close the tab, or you can click on the GatherTown Browser tab. To close the sticky note, click on the X in the upper right corner of the note. In this video, I'll cover a few things that weren't discussed in the previous 4 videos. Respawn is a handy little tool. Click on it from anywhere in the space and it'll take you back to the welcome area. If you're trapped in an area like a booth where there's a whole bunch of people and you can't find your way out, press the G key and you'll turn into a ghost and you can walk right through them. If you're excited about something and you want to express yourself, or if you just want to show people where you are, you can press the Z key and your avatar will do a little dance. Just in the last few days, the GatherTown programmers made a change in the way characters are customized. This is the new screen for customizing a character. It's pretty intuitive, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I wanted to show you so that you wouldn't be surprised. If you just want to park your avatar somewhere for a while and let it take a little nap, you can turn on quiet mode and you won't be disturbed by ambient noises. If you see someone with a red dot by their name, they're in quiet mode and probably don't want to be disturbed. You can turn off quiet mode the same way. If you need assistance with GatherTown, or if you have any questions about 3D-Con conference, you can type help in the search panel of the participant window. Click on one of the people that shows up, then you can find that person, ask them a question, and if they don't know the answer, they'll find someone who does. And lastly, as slick as GatherTown is, it does have some issues, and occasionally there are problems with audio or video or something, especially if it involves Zoom. If you have problems and things don't behave properly, just close your GatherTown tab and re-enter the space. It should take care of your problems. I hope this helps you enjoy your visit. Have fun out there. Bye.
Fantastic. So thanks Dave Heiser for all the work and everything for the GatherTown space. All right, so we're going to hit the gas here and try to do a couple little more things so we can get to the new 3D-Con attendee event. Back on the web page, we're going to talk about VR in a second. Just to point out, there's a press kit here. If you want to use our press release somewhere to promote the convention, click here, and then you can also get the video, and you can get images to send out and use in publications. Here's some contact information with some emails for some of the people, if you want to contact people. Everybody agrees to the code of conduct that we have written here. So that's part of when you click the current event page, you agree to all of this. The FAQs are really great. You should read these and they can be helpful. The glossary, also helpful. And then at the very bottom, we have the sponsors and the links. So again, a thank you to all of our sponsors who have provided things for the kit. And then also down below, we have a listing of some of the clickable links for some local stereo clubs in the US. We also encourage you to go to the NSA's website. The NSA is we're all hopefully a part of. And you can also go to find your local clubs here at this. This Alexander Klein is so gracious to set this, keep tabs on all the clubs around the world. So you can go and look to see if there's a club near you. And Greg, we have to tweak this thing, it looks like. And then the ISU is, if you're international, they have every 2 years, they have a convention. So in various cities. So that's very great to do. And then also the Facebook and the Twitter and the Instagram. And just while we're here, big shout out to Vanessa Grine, pronunciation, who has done all kinds of great work setting up these little promotional bits on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, go ahead and like or subscribe or whatever you do there to this thing. And so that's basically about it. But I want to real quick just look at the virtual reality tab. So like we said, we've got people in AltSpace. If you come here, we want you to, if you want to look at the events that are in AltSpace, you can click that little link to subscribe to this channel. As soon as you hit subscribe, then you're going to see all of the current events popping up to the top. So I've got a couple friends there in VR. And here's these like different worlds. We have this instructions to try to get you into AltSpace. So you can click on that. Little video tutorials that are great. You can watch. So hopefully you can get through. Message us if you have any kind of questions. And then there's a bunch of artist links down below. Now, some of these are available in Anaglyph as well. So these Orbix galleries, you can also just do these in Anaglyph down here. Some of them, I think that the VR 180 ones you can do in Anaglyph. This one is a mix, it may not work in Anaglyph. YouTube as well, these will work in YouTube VR on a headset, but then also you could use a Google Cardboard. There's more instructions here. You can also view them in maybe in Anaglyph, I think, on the browser. And then check this one out, which is also in VR. And then if you want to continue to be part of our updates, go and click this Discord server. And you can set that up. All right, so why don't we play that? We can play the gym thing real quick. We'll kick to Jim Park in VR.
Jim Park. I'm hanging out in one of the AltSpace galleries that's been created for this year's virtual convention. And the reality of this year's virtual NSA convention is there's going to be some amazing stuff happening in virtual reality. There's some incredible works that people have put together in the Orbix 360 platform, and there are so many different fascinating stereoscopic worlds on AltSpace. There are a few galleries that have been put together just for the convention, and people have done all kinds of amazing things in here. In terms of this gallery, you can see behind me on the wall over there are some vintage stereo cards that have been converted to be displayed in here. There's Gordon Au's amazing postcard. Behind me are some 3D fractals William Turner created. They're being displayed as VR 180 spheres. Right here are some vases created by Stephen Slater. And these are really fascinating. These vases have stereoscopic pictures as their textures. What I find interesting about this is these are artworks that can only exist in virtual reality. You couldn't have something like this in the real world. And the fact is the real world is a bit overrated. I also want to mention Saturday morning, 9:30 Pacific time, I believe, I'm going to be teaching a workshop in how to create galleries like this using Unity. I don't know if I'll be able to cover the entire thing in 30 minutes, but I'll give you an overview of the process. I'll provide lots of materials and templates, and I'm hoping that this will encourage many of you to start creating wonderful galleries like this to display your inventions, your creations, and hopefully new art forms. So we're looking forward to seeing you there. Bye-bye.
Oh, Dave left us and now he's in alt space.
We can't hear him though.
Yeah. Dave, we can't hear you.
We'll discuss how to view stereo.
Oh, I didn't share my sound, did I?
We'll also
There
discuss
you go.
how to view stereo content. And finally, we'll speak.
That'll do it. Hold on a second. Let me go back and fix it. No, really, I'm in VR.
Thanks, Jim. What?
Oh, geez.
Thanks, Jim. What? Virtual reality is an amazing place. It is absolutely mind-blowing to be in a world where nothing special is needed to view stereo photography. It's just a part of reality here. On the first day of 3D-Con, join Jim and I for a special interest group discussion about stereoscopic 3D in VR. We'll discuss how to view stereo MPOs and side-by-side photos or movies. We'll also discuss how to view stereo content with other people. And finally, we'll speak with a few stereo artists who have ported their work into VR. We'll be running the session in Zoom and in AltSpace VR. I hope to see you there in whichever reality you choose.
All right, and now I'm back. It's magic. All right, great. So that's it for the website walkthrough. And if anybody has any questions, maybe email one of us. It looks like we don't have a lot of time for that, but go to GatherTown, discuss it in there, and hopefully people can help you in there. So this ends this meeting. So now we will roll into our next meeting, which will be the new 3D-Con folks. So we've got Jan. You there, Jan?
I'm here. Hi.
Right, cool. So if we can spotlight Jan. Jan is always a very helpful person in live meetings. And so she's offered to port that helpfulness into the virtual space. Take it away, Jan.
Well, welcome everyone. This is a meet and greet for new attendees, but I also want to welcome all the longstanding NSA members to stay because of this virtual convention. It'll be so great. We'll be able to meet individual newcomers as they introduce themselves in just a bit after I just take a minute to express a few thoughts to them and welcome all of you who are here for the first time. It's really great. I mean, I love NSA in person, but the virtual meetings that we've had have been so exciting because it's possible to reach out to so many more people. And I'm really glad that you made it here. You know, you're going to notice through the convention, there's a lot of familiarity. You'll see, you know, some of these friendships have happened over years of meeting in conventions, and others have happened pretty quickly and spontaneously from the passion of shared interests. And it's a great time to meet new people in 3D at the NSA convention because you might discover people who are interested in 3D who live right around the corner from you didn't know about, and you might meet people who have shared interests who are from across the world. So, you know, one thing about this incredible group of people is that they're very interesting people, and their fascination with 3D is just taken with intensity to the special interest in their lives. So through this fascinating world of 3D, I've met people who are expert spelunkers, underwater explorers, pilots, sports photographers, people who are passionate about music and the arts, that and so much more. All of these folks are here and they're bringing their immense talents, they're bringing their intense passion, and they're bringing their historical knowledge and curiosity and they're here to share that. So whether you're here to experience some technical growth in your 3D stereoscopy or artistic growth, or if you're just interested in expanding your historical knowledge, you're in the right place. And so I'm going to invite the new attendees now to briefly introduce themselves. And what I'd like is for you to share with us your name and where you're from, what your interests in 3D are, maybe what you're hoping to find from this convention, and what you have to share. So if you're interested in speaking, I'm going to ask you now to write in the chat just briefly where you're from and write the word intro. So we'll know that you want to speak, and we'll call on you in a bit. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to show you what I'm talking about. I'll introduce myself. I'm Jan Burant. I am a longtime NSA member. I joined NSA after my 3D camera broke and I needed to figure out how to fix it. And I found that person through the NSA. And since then, that was many years ago, I've made so many friends in this group. I collect vintage stereo, especially cards related to artists and paper making. I'm an image maker, everything from homemade Viewmaster reels to stereo jets. I was a longtime editor of International Stereoscopic Union's Stereoscopy magazine, and I love getting lost in a still 3D image. So I'm hoping to meet new people here at the convention and get inspiration to put together a show for next year in Tacoma, where I'm hoping to meet you all in person. So let's take a look at the chat, and maybe Dave, if you can help me identify someone who's written in there that they would like to introduce themselves.
Yeah, so we've got George O. So also what you could do is down at the bottom, there is a reactions button. You can click on that and then raise your hand, and then that'll bubble you up to the top. And if you're Ron Labby, you are not new, so we are not calling on you because you're an old hand. Let's see.
Will they be able to unmute themselves, or do you need to unmute them?
You know what? I can set it to unmute. So only unmute yourself if you are called upon, please. So let's go over to George O in the Chicago suburbs. If you want to unmute.
Hi, George.
Hi there. I started doing stereo photography in the very early 90s after finding a stereo realist at a garage sale for $5. And I've taken hundreds of pictures, a lot in state parks and that type of thing. Really enjoyed it. I also have the Fuji W3 stereo camera. I'd like to learn how to get that into other formats viewable by other people. And I got really lucky a couple weeks ago. I found a TDC 116 at an estate sale that I picked up for $65, and it kind of re-energized me for this. And so really looking forward to diving back in.
Terrific. Do you think you may consider coming to Tacoma next year?
Don't know.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's fair enough.
I used to have a relative in the Seattle area. That would have made it easier, but I might have to stay remote.
All right. Well, thanks for introducing yourself, George.
Thank you.
Cool. Let's go to Patrick Luber in Grand Forks, North Dakota. I know Patrick's going to be presenting in the stereo sessions tomorrow. If you want to unmute. I guess you didn't say intro, but okay, there you are.
Intro.
Okay.
Yes, I'm new to the conference. My interest in stereographs is primarily the Viewmaster stereographs, which I saw for the first time when I was a child, and then didn't do much with it for many years. And then as an adult, sort of came back to that interest that was sparked even as a child, primarily sparked, like a lot of other people, just because of the magic of that 3D illusion. you get sort of sucked into that world. I come from an visual art background. So my interest in the ViewMaster images is primarily from a cultural standpoint rather than a production or making standpoint. I'm always fascinated how the thousands and millions of images of in the ViewMaster library sort of kind of create this, very edited world. And I'll be talking about that a little bit tomorrow during my session, primarily about images that were taken or subjects in the United States. So I'm kind of interested in it from I guess, sort of a cultural standpoint about how these images speak to our beliefs and our vision of primarily, in my case, of America, but it also, I think, speaks to a world vision or how we see other cultures and other countries. So what I hope to get from the conference, just kind of meet other people who are interested in the cultural aspects of stereographic images, and I'm sure I will learn a lot at the conference.
Great. Well, welcome. We're so glad you're here, Patrick. Thank you. Is Reg Nelson from Thunder Bay, Ontario here?
Yes, I'm right here. Reg Nelson, Thunder
Hi.
Bay, on the North Shore of Lake Superior. It's about, just to give people some context, about a 6-hour drive north of Minneapolis. So I've been a member of the NSA for probably about a decade. So I actually recognize quite a few names that I see on the screen from various articles and that I've read over the years. I've never traveled to a 3D-Con. I don't really do a lot of traveling. I tend to travel mostly on my bicycle or on a sailboat on Lake Superior. And I don't travel a lot by plane, but I started taking stereo images using the shuffle method when I first discovered that that's something that could be done. And I got a L'Oreal lens in a cap for my old film camera way back when, and I continued from there. I also have a Fuji W3 that I use. I've gone on to do quite a bit of 3D modeling and creating mixed 3D models with stereo images using Blender, and creating some VR presentations with that, and also do some photogrammetry, creating 3D models using photogrammetry as well. So I'm really happy to, I understand everybody wants to go back to in-person meetings, but I am really grateful for this chance to be able to at least join you in this virtual space. So I'm looking forward to a lot of the presentations over the next few days. And
you're in the right crowd. I think that it's very exciting that you're here. And I think a lot of us are really excited that the convention is virtual this year. And so I good luck meeting. I know you'll meet a lot of people, and GatherTown is really great because you can have video chats all the way through it. So I look forward to catching up with you there.
Thank you, Jen.
Douglas from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. You still with us, Douglas? Maybe Jim Wildman from.
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh,
there's
good.
Jim.
My name is Jim
Welcome.
Wildman. I live in Stoughton, Wisconsin, so just a little bit south of the capital of Wisconsin, Madison. I'm a retired instructor. I taught photography for many years at the tech school in Madison, and before that I earned my living as a commercial photographer. So I'm very interested in photography. I've been a member of NSA for at least 2 or 3 decades, receiving the magazine, but because I'm recently retired now, I seem to have more time, and my passion for 3D has come back. So I mean, I started as a child, of course, with the Viewmaster, like so many of us, but really, I think I was in my 20s when I saw Creature from the Black Lagoon on the University of Wisconsin campus. Film Society ran it. After that was over, I found myself on my hands and knees picking up cardboard glasses, not even knowing what I was going to do with them, but I just wanted them. Well, since then, I've been creating 3D of my own, and I've really enjoyed the Facebook page. That's new to me. The NSA Facebook page has really helped me understand the breadth of knowledge that is in this membership. It's impressive. And every time I go through the page looking at what's being posted, I learn something. So I've been very grateful for that. It's expanded my horizons considerably. So I'm glad to, well, I think so too. Yeah, it's
I would invite you to post questions and pose meeting places in Gathertown on the Facebook page over the weekend. It's a great way to get people from interested in a particular topic to go maybe meet in the Ray Zone to talk about particular areas of interest.
Well, it's a good suggestion, and I think I may find myself doing that. This is the first convention I've gone to, and I'm pleased to be here. Also, when we go back to face-to-face, I like traveling. I have the time and resources to do it, so maybe I get a chance to come, and wherever it may be. Tacoma.
All right.
Sounds good. So thank you for all of everyone who's sharing their images and their knowledge, and I look forward to being part of the group.
Great, thanks, Jim. Sarah from Sarah Santatoro from Southern California.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I mostly just collect Viewmasters. I heard about the 3D-Con, and I wanted to come and see what it was all about. I have a relatively extensive collection, you could say, and I came here finding out from Viewmaster collectors on Facebook. So that's me.
Well, never say just when you use the word Viewmaster. There are a lot of people who are really passionate about their collections here and also shooting. So welcome very much, and I'm glad that you're here. And I hope you can find a lot of great sources for inspiration at the 3D-Con.
Thank you very much.
Melissa McGowan from the Bronx.
Hello, I'm Melissa from the Bronx, originally from Delaware. If you see a tail flicking around, my cat has decided to hang out with me, so he's inside. I am an absolute newbie to the whole world of 3D. I got my W3 about 2 months ago, and I joined the NSA, and I'm friends with Rob Ellis. He's the one who actually got me into 3D photography, so I'm learning a lot from him, and I'm actually just looking forward to meeting people who are into 3D photography, you know, tips and tricks, inspiration, really into Viewmasters. I have a small collection of Viewmaster slides, and I do a lot of architectural and landscape photography. So I'm looking to work 3D into doing that.
Oh, wonderful. That's a great topic. Well, I really encourage you to go to David Starkman's Stereo Photomaker workshop. That is a must see for every newcomer who is interested in learning about image alignment and making images. So thank you for sharing, Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
And also too, some of the bigger cities like New York, LA, Ohio, Golden Gate, there's a couple really active clubs in your area so that you can check those out. A lot of people. Cool. Some of them are still doing stuff online, so we encourage you after the convention, not just NSA, but try to see what kind of else is going on online.
Yeah, will do.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Lance Wald from Parkland, Florida.
What's going on, everybody? You guys are my favorite kind of freaks. It's unbelievable to see this 145 people who are into 3D. Anyway, I've met a lot of you. I got into 3D the first time that I put a Google Android phone on a 3D viewer when Google Cardboard first came out. And from that point, instead of the starting point most people have from Viewmasters up through whatever, up through VR, I started with VR, went into Oculus, and then went all the way back, sort of like a de-evolution, all the way back to stereo cards and everything. The usual suspects, W3, 2D to 3D conversions, everything in between. Viewmaster, love it all. But most recently, I've am becoming an evangelist for the Leia LoomPad, the 4V, but also incredible 3D glass-free viewer, which this convention can be watched on 3D, actually without glasses in 3D on the YouTube stream. So anyway, nice to meet all of you. I know I've met tons of you on all kinds of different Facebook pages, but this is my first NSA, and I'm happy to be here.
Well, welcome, and be sure to meet the people at the historical stereoscopy talks tomorrow morning, because last year we had those sessions and they were fabulous. And when you're looking at early history, you just can't beat that. So welcome, glad to meet you.
Lance, are you also Euler in the feed, or is that somebody different?
No, I'm Lance.
Okay.
Euler is from Tremont, Illinois. But Euler, you have to tell us your name.
I screwed up that. Yeah, go ahead, Euler.
He's muted.
So yeah, Euler, if you can click the. Now's a good time to mention the Lagunitas Stereohopic IPA, which you can find locally. It's the unofficial beer of the convention. But if we can't get Euler.
He's here. Euler, are you here?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, I'm here. Can you see me?
We can see you and we can hear you now. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm William Euler. I'm from Tremont, Illinois, and I've collected 3D since my youth. I started off with my grandmother's Stereohopticon, and then I got my first Viewmaster with my Tarzan reels, and have collected ever since. So I have a collection. I've got a room full of 3D, anything 3D. What I haven't done yet is photography, and with the digital phones, I'm hoping to learn something about being able to, make my own 3D pictures eventually. So, but I do have, I say, full 3D. So that's about it.
That's great. Well, if you go to David Starkman's workshop, you'll be making your own 3D images in no time, because with Stereo Photomaker, you can easily align your images. And Masuji Suto is to thank there too. So thank you for joining us. And I guess we'll go on to Bernie Schmidt now from Oakley, California. Hi, Bernie. Can you unmute yourself? We can't hear you, but you have to unmute yourself. There you go. I am so sorry, but your audio isn't working. So,
so you were unmuted, but if you go to the lower left-hand side of the screen, there's a little microphone, and if you click the little up arrow, you may need to switch to a different microphone and then unmute.
So maybe, Bernie, we may need to come back to you when you can, if you can figure out your audio.
Okay, good now.
Wait, there you are.
Is it working in?
Yes, yes.
Oh, just had to, my hands do not work too well.
All right, Bernie.
Okay, anyway, I'm Bernie Schmidt, and I'm in Oakley, California, which is part of the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm also 81 and disabled, okay? I just joined the group just a few weeks ago, didn't know it existed, but I've been working with 3D photography since I was 14 years old.
Wow, that's fabulous.
And I got started, this is back in New York, I got started playing with 3D using a standard camera. I didn't know people are doing it today, but in those days, I was taking 3 pictures with an ordinary box camera. Remember those old Kodak square box brownies? And printing them in my darkroom and using them in the viewers. I didn't know about cross-eyed yet. I was also loved, of course. It got me started was because, first of all, I had Viewmaster as a kid. Who didn't in those days? I had hundreds of reels in the cases, and that was when it was owned by Sawyer's, and I think they were in Portland. And then I went to a movie, and I saw my first 3D movie, Bawana Junction. And that blew me away. Couldn't believe that I could see it. So amazing, because it was using, I think it was one of the first ones to use the Polaroid lenses. And from that, I started building my own stuff to make it for people who had an ordinary home movie camera, like 8mm. And I actually built a beam splitter that actually worked, saved some of the light that we lost. I used Polaroid filters to project it and bring it back. It was quite an experience. But I also went to the High School of Industrial Art, where I studied photography. The school is now called Art and Design. I was a terrible photographer, but I was a great technician. And now I don't take pictures. I try to use my cell phone for everything. But mainly because I can't move now much. This hand doesn't work, and I have to use a wheelchair to get around, and it's unsteady. But I just joined the group because I'd like to learn more of the new stuff, and also if I could answer any questions about the old days, because so I've been around like quite a while.
Well,
So
it's exciting to meet you, and I'm sure that, I mean, you have such a wealth of knowledge that you'll be able to share when you're here, and I hope to run into you in Gathertown later, and thank you so much for joining the convention.
Thank you for welcoming me. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for having it on internet.
So I'm scrolling down and seeing Benny Blanco from the Bronx.
No, that's
No?
well, that's a movie reference.
That's a movie reference. Okay, stop trying to
It's
fool me.
Doug
Heil said that his,
Did you there, Doug? Oh, there's Doug.
Doug Heiler, welcome.
Oh, you muted again. You were there for a second, and now you're muted, Doug. Okay.
There you go. We're having a little audio issue here.
Yeah, so maybe if you go down to the left-hand side on the bottom on Zoom, there's a little microphone and there's an up arrow next to it. If you can click on that, you might need to select your microphone. And meanwhile, too, we also had 2 people who introduced themselves in the chat. That was Maria and Kenneth Brecker. So welcome to them. I don't have the...
Can I say something while we're waiting on the other person?
Sure.
So the youthful gentleman who just said he's been taking photographs for the last 50 years and now switched to his phone, his iPhone. So I just want to do a little pitch. So here's, for example, a picture I just took with the iPhone. Problem is you've got to be able to view it. So I've designed a viewer.
Yes.
Which I'm hoping to get out in the world, because somebody here, and some of you I've already talked about this when I was at Akron 2 years ago, somebody's got to be able to manufacture this thing. But
It
in any
is
case,
manufactured. I have one.
Sorry?
I have one. It is manufactured.
That's because I made it. You mean,
I
who is
can,
speaking right now? In any case, I mean manufactured commercially, just like the Owl and so forth. It's different from the Owl, which has a much longer focal length, but this is specifically designed for smartphones with a 10-inch focal length. It's very different from VR. It's the one you're using there has got a 4-inch focal length. Anyway, I'm advertising for people to go look at my website called dicopter.com. The name of this thing is called the Dicopter, and take a look at it. And sometime accost me during the meeting and we'll talk about it some more. Thank you, Jan, for letting me speak.
You might want to post that on Facebook too, if you want.
That's a great idea. Anybody post things on the Facebook group page that you'd like to talk with people about over the convention. And you can even create events if you want to set a time to have a conversation about certain things. Hey, listen, I wanted to say that there are several people who introduced themselves with text in the chat. If any of you would like to actually be introduced on camera, would you please reach out now?
One of them was Kenneth. And so then I think another other one was Maria.
Dorothea?
Maria. I think we still have problems with Douglas. No, still. Don't know why.
Dorothy from Denmark? Or there's Maria. Okay, we'll start with Maria. Maria, can you unmute?
You need one of those diopter devices to do things. Me too.
Have to go in the lower left corner and click unmute. But all right,
maybe that's it. Yeah, it is fun to see it. All of the homemade devices.
Okay, Douglas, do you think you're able to figure out your audio now? We still can't hear you.
How about the Denmark person? You can all jockey to see whose microphone works first.
Olivia, are you here in North Carolina? Well, I'll tell you what, I think that it's getting to be, we're a little running over our time a bit. I think the meeting before us ran over a bit, but what I don't want to do is I don't want to run over too much because we have a wonderful workshop starting in about 15 minutes and people may want to break in between now and then. But I do want to encourage everyone to go to David Starkman's workshop, and Masuji Suto put together Stereo Photo Maker, which is really a tremendous gift to the 3D community, and everybody here should know about it. If you don't already, you will want to know about it. So again, my name is Jan Burant. Please reach out to me in Gathertown or through the Facebook group if you would like more help getting introductions to people, or really appreciate getting to know a few of you, and looking forward to NSA. It's going to be a fun few days.
And one other thing too is that if you weren't able to speak here, we might be able to get to you during the happy hour later on. So we have kind of a structure for the happy hours. I forgot to sort of mention those in detail in the previous meeting, but we're going to have the beginning of the happy hour. We'll talk about tonight. We'll talk about the trade fair, and then tomorrow we'll talk about the art gallery. But then after that happens, then it's kind of more of a free discussion, and any new folks are welcome to join in.
And you know, because a few people mentioned it, I just want to point out again what Claire said earlier about the feedback form later. Please be sure to take the time to let us know your reactions to this 3D-Con, because we love having them in person, of course, but we love having them virtually too. And the more thoughts that you share about your experience, the better we'll be able to make these in the future. So looking forward to seeing you all throughout the next few days. And thanks so much for being here. Enjoy the next workshop.
Thank you.
Do we have to sign out and then back on again for that workshop?
That workshop is on a different channel. So there's a different link for that workshop. So yes, you do have to, this will end as soon as Dave closes it. And the next workshop will be yours, David Starkman. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jan.
Yeah, just go to the main page and it'll have a link again. Bye.
So we're gonna So we're going to shut down this Zoom. Go back to 3dcon.com and click on the current event button. It'll get you the link for the next, the first of our workshops. We'll see you there.